Hey everyone, if you saw yesterday's video, which I just put together, we discovered this right here. Now, we're on a stakeout overnight. I'm pretty tired. I just parked my vehicle about 200, 300 feet down the road, had a nice little flat area to park, and first thing in the morning we're coming down here to attempt an unclogging. So, we have tons of water here pouring out of the woods. The drainage ditch isn't very good. Here it's doing a little bit of its job. Another inspector put a blue ribbon up. That's not mine. But that's a good example of why I put giant ribbons. You see how they put a little one? Mine will be dangling down to almost the ground because you're not going to see what they did when this tree grows its leaves. It is April 21st right now. And tomorrow's going to be April 22nd when we unclog this. 1 month, the leaves are not going to be here yet. Up here, the growing season is June 15th, so early June, this is going to be blocked. The point is, you won't see the ribbon. Look at the drainage ditch. This has to be dug out a little bit. Down there's a lot of puddles in the road that would be prevented if this was collecting the groundwater. See, it's very muddy. I drove over this, and that's why you can see it's kind of highlighted by the mud. I'm the only tire tracks. We're doing spring inspections. First vehicle down most of these roads, so we're coming across some issues. The water, I like to point out, is crystal clear. Today's a bit chilly. Oh, yeah, it's chilly. Look, there's even a thin layer of ice forming, and this water's not even still. Yeah. I'm sure it's below freezing now. I haven't checked, but I know when I parked about an hour and a half ago to start editing my video yesterday, or today's video that was posted yesterday, it was just a couple degrees above freezing. Now it must have dropped down. It's a very cold night. Tomorrow's supposed to be 50 degrees, 10 degrees Celsius. Then big change coming for the weekend. We'll be in the 70s or about 22 Celsius. But we got a good amount of water here, and I believe even when we unclog this amount of water, it's not going to fit through the pipes. Now, roads are designed like this intentionally. It's designed to flood here. They always put the pipes a little bit higher on the road, so if there is a washout that just has to happen, it will wash out right here. This is by design. All it takes is a couple dump trucks to fix any kind of washout. If the pipes disappear, they could be washed downstream into the wilderness, never to be seen again, which cost a lot more money to replace than just a couple dump trucks of fill. Over here where the water is not, there's already a thin little crust that formed just in the past hour of the sun going down. It's already super chilly. Nobody's out here. There's probably not a single human for dozens of miles in every direction right now. But there's probably a bunch of moose. So here's what we got. This one culvert here collapsed a bit. See the edge of the road collapsed into it. I want to get down there in the morning with my big high boots. We'll first try to get that big log out of there. And then I'm going to try raking this one completely open. That should help out a little bit. Now the other pipe right here, which you can hear making all that noise, it appears to be completely open, but we're gonna find out. We gotta look in there and everything. We go over here to the other side. We can go down here a little bit. Still some good snowpack in the woods this far north. Up here, it can snow into the early June. Usually doesn't. Almost always will in May at some point. It'll get cold again. So, we got this pipe right here. And I gotta be careful, I don't have the big high boots on. I just want to peek in there. Let's try to peek in there. I did not expect this. There might be very little we can do. First off, here's what I'm noticing. See how there's like a collapse right there? That's not from water going over the road. This pipe, the bottom of it's just gone. Look in there. There's a little bit of a blockage in the middle. Is that a rock? Let's zoom in a little bit. Is that a rock in there? Let's zoom in a little bit more, 3 times. Those rocks are not going to help, but they're not really hurting too much. It's basically open. Those rocks are not obstructing the flow, but things potentially could get jammed against them. Hopefully that would help add pressure and push them out of there. Now the other pipe, I don't think we can really do too much there. Look at that. It's kind of falling in. They used logs to kind of hold up the embankment. Now this willow tree, its roots are probably helping out a little bit, but inevitably the willow tree's roots will eventually clog things. Willow trees have very strong roots, and they'll clog up things where there's water. This is a nice area. I bet a moose would like to be here. They love to eat water grass, and those are moose tracks over there in the snow. You don't want to make a moose out here angry. You gotta be careful when you're walking around the moose's swamp, especially at night. I can't go through here. This looks like a spot I can go through, but I'm actually sinking deeper than expected in this water grass, and I was actually less than an inch away from flooding. The boot's right there. So I'm thinking right now, after what I'm seeing there, is this even actually worth attempting in the morning? I think it is. We're gonna do it. I need to sleep anyways. So I just don't like how the exit of that doesn't appear to be fully open, but we will get in the water here and attempt opening this up in the morning. But I gotta get a good night's sleep first. We've been on the road a lot today. We drove 324 miles, and we were on the road 13 hours, just slowly driving down. Yeah, over 300 miles of these back roads. Yeah, it's cold out, look. It's freezing. It's freezing up. I know a lot of people in my comments can't even imagine living this far north, having it still be cold in the end of April. Well, every year is different. Last deep freeze was May 26th. 2 years ago, the last deep freeze was the first week in May, so it can vary by a month. This year is trending warmer, so I think tonight might actually be the last deep freeze, just looking at the forecast, because there's not even a single light frost over the whole next week. I'm not even going to need a jacket again during the days. Nothing that's in the forecast. Who knows? We might get a lucky year, and this could very well be it. All right, everyone. See you in the morning. We gotta get some sleep. We just got out right here because we've been here in the past, and I gotta figure out if this is over capacity. That's a lot of water going across. I can already tell it's definitely over capacity, but is there a clog that's contributing to that being worse? There's a bit of erosion here. There's the pipe. Does not appear to be blocked. I thought it was there at first because of how it's kind of falling apart. This is slate rock everywhere. This is the kind of road that'll destroy your tires if you're not with the off-road tires. Tires I use they feel like heavy equipment tires. They're very hard. They don't give you a very smooth ride, but it prevents that. So there is a second pipe actually, and it looks like it has collapsed. Let's see if we can kick down into there a little bit. I think this is an issue that we can revisit another day. We're definitely going to come back out to this location. That will definitely not fit in these pipes, but this one here has lost probably 75% of its capacity. That one appears to be wide open, but it's not at capacity. It's not deep enough in the ground for that. But that being said, we're gonna come back out to this one when the ice and everything melts out of there, because I just felt around with my boot. I can't really do anything. The blockage is partially frozen still. We'll have to come back out. Good morning, everyone. I've been up now for about 20 minutes. Drank some water, waking up. Ran the truck for a bit to warm up in here. And it is now 18, nope, it just clicked up to 19 degrees outside, or that's about -10 Celsius. So we're gonna get going now. I've already got the big high boots on. We got the rake ready to go. We're gonna shut the truck back off. I just wanted to warm up because it's so cold out. Now we're gonna walk down to the blockage, which is only about 200 feet away. Nice, beautiful, quiet morning. Nothing but birds chirping. We're the only tire tracks on the road. Oh, wow. The ground got crispy last night. Look at that. It lifted up all the little pebbles. Real crispy road. We were the first vehicle of the year, and we're going to continue deeper down this road today. Wow, the whole blockage down there froze up overnight. I'm glad I got some footage of it last night. Very, very frozen down here. All the groundwater kind of froze up, so we probably aren't going to have as much flow. The capacity issue down here was even worse because of all the snow melting with the ground still being frozen, unable to absorb it. And the drainage ditch right here to the right is non-existent. That's why it's crossing the road, causing all these puddles. And yep, see, everything gained a layer of ice last night. It's really chilly out here. There's moose poop there. I wonder if that was there last night or if they just showed up. Breaking ice is so satisfying. I'll probably have to drive the truck down here through this later. I am actually surprised how thick the ice was able to get. I think it's because the ground is still frozen. So it was able to kind of freeze, make the water cold from both sides. Wow, the whole road flood up here froze really, really bad in the last 10 hours. Still have some patchy snowpack throughout all the woods. But that usually lasts a long time. I found it out here in June. Deep piles under the trees. It just can't melt. I hear water up there cracking just from the sun coming up. Yeah, it slowed down. Slowed down a bit. So our goal today is trying to get as much of this off of the road as possible. And I think it slowed down. Wow, so much of this ice, none of this ice was here yesterday. This is thick enough here that I gotta walk through it slow, or I could slip on it. It's almost able to hold me. And you see the white ice? That's showing that the water is reducing since last night. It froze, and then the water dropped, leaving it suspended. That looks so cool. Maybe we can hear some ice cracking if we get the water to actually recede down. So we're gonna put camera 2 down there. Camera 1 will be up here where I'm working. Yeah, that reduced a bit since last night. I want to put the camera out there in the middle of that grassy area. I don't think it's gonna rise very much. All right, everyone, let's go get camera number 2 out there. Everyone, it's time to see if we can make any sort of difference at this pipe. Let's see if it's too deep or not. Get that out of there. It's not even possible to get this thing open. The other side turned a bit coffee colored, but as you can see, even the handle wasn't making it through there. It's caked in there pretty deep. So I guess the end of it looking collapsed that we discovered last night, even the one that's flowing good has the bottom of the pipe is missing, and it's not far out either. So I guess we're gonna put up warning ribbons and continue on our way. My fingers are so cold, I don't even want to touch these metal tripods. I think I'm gonna leave you guys here and go grab the truck and pick them up, because my hands are wet now and these metal tripods are gonna freeze me. really, really bad if I try to touch them. In fact, yeah, my fingers even want to stick to them. This is a good example of how culvert pipes and random rocks get shoved up out of the road from beneath in the winter. Look at this. Just overnight, these crystals lifted up the whole surface of the road. Imagine what a whole winter can do. It'll shove rocks that are 4 feet under up. If you have foundations, culverts, and there's water around them, if the ground's wet, it'll force things up. If the ground's dry, then you don't have to really worry as much. So we're spending a week out here doing these inspections. Truck already is really, really dirty after only one day out here on the logging roads. I love driving through ice. As long as it's not too thick, because if it's really thick ice and the water's deep, it can cut things on your vehicle. Alright, so we're gonna good. We're putting up both colors at this location. And then we're going to put the other markers directly above the pipe. Now we're going to pick up our equipment that I just left here. Crunch. So much fun driving through this. Alright, now we'll pick up our equipment, put up more flagging. Okay, we got the warning up. You see how I secured the one on the right down to that log? I intentionally left the log there so I could secure it to that, so no one falls into that hole that might not be apparent. And over on the other side, got one there too. So basically the pipe rusted out so badly, and that's why the road collapsed. And whoever marked this last time, it wasn't me, because I didn't start carrying blue ribbon until this season, and the other tape is at least a year old, the way it's getting kind of hard in the sun. They didn't put enough, because when they actually come out to do road work in the summer, you're not going to be able to see that stuff. And these issues might not be apparent in the summer when there's not a lot of water flowing. We're not going to drive all the way down here. We're going to turn around right now. This time of year, we gotta be careful how far over on the lip we go, because some of these roads are very, very wet. Not this road. This road's actually in better condition than some of the main arteries. But this road will have to be fixed because there's a tourist attraction at the end of it. A hiking trail. So they'll fix this one. Boom. Yeah, both those pipes need to be completely replaced. How much you want to bet that they're just going to cover that up, not actually replace it? Eventually, they're going to realize it costs more to keep repairing it improperly every single year. Let's see what else we can find today. I was unfortunate that we couldn't open that up. Okay, right here's another wet area. This one's already flagged. And if we look down on the right, I don't see a culvert here. A lot of these areas have sandy soil, so it might just be able to seep in the ground and not cause an issue in the summer. But considering the whole road has slowly swerved around it, I think that's always a problem. I got a bad feeling about this corner. Yep. Not that bad. I thought it was going to be a lot more snow covered than that. But when you got snow melting there, it could be mud holes. Look what we got here. That's no good. There we go. This one we just marked, you can see frost is what lifted it up like that from the ground. Look at the cracks just from overnight. You can see how frost is trying to lift things up out of the ground. It looks like we might have a big crunch coming up. Is that small enough to drive over? No, I think I should move that. Looks like someone else has been driving over it to the right or to the left, but that looks too muddy. I think I can move that by hand potentially. Need to be careful on this road. We've got a lot of frost and mud. This is probably a dead end. Sometimes you just look at the debris that's left behind on these logging roads and you wonder, how are they even making a profit? There's a moose. Over there, there's a moose. It's actually the second moose I've seen today. The one I saw earlier today ran away before I could photograph it. These clearings are left a mess. There's debris everywhere. But the areas where they clean up a bit better, the moose actually like the wide open areas because it grows into a grassland for a little bit. There's lots of berry bushes around, and when there's fresh cuts of things like maple and birch, they'll just sit there and lick it because it's sugar coming out of it. Well, that was definitely worth moving the tree to see that moose, but yeah, this is a dead end, and I'm thankful it was so cold last night because this is frozen. Very, very frozen. This wouldn't be very good if it was thawed like it will be in the afternoon. Now we need to turn around, and this is looking scary right here. But it is hard. I'm thankful for it being really hard. I'm not even in four-wheel drive. But this is sketchy. If I was here, whoa, with this all thawed, because there's not many things to winch off of. Those trees there are pretty big. Right in front of us. We're probably making a ton of noise. I wonder where that moose went. This is just a turnaround for the semi-trucks. That's why these ruts are so bad. Looks like they even lost a log on the way out. See it right there? From all these bumps. They just fall off the truck sometimes. On the way back, the moose is still up there. tree in the road. Crunch. Crunch. All right, everyone, now that the sun's really coming out, it's already 40 degrees out, or 5 Celsius. It's going to get even hotter today. So I just turned around here because I'm noticing water elevated in here around these trees. Let's see what we got. Oh, we might have a good one here. That's a beaver dam, partially failing from the spring thaw, probably blasting through here. They clogged that. Last year they also clogged like 3 giant ones down there, causing this part of the road to become underwater last spring. See how low the water is there? Got all this barrier here, which looks like the logging company did it to direct it to this pipe. So let's see how deep the water is. If we can access inside this pipe, I think we can just simply walk inside it. It's not very deep. Oh yeah, definitely. All right, everyone, I think we're all set to start this. Today we're going to be using magnetic tripods only. So I'm going to put a magnetic tripod on the end of the pipe, showing the end, because it'll probably flood over the snow a little bit. We'll stick it to the top of the end of the pipe, and we'll put an internal one, probably at that end, looking in at me, at that end, in case I need to evacuate fast. There was one time when I had to get out fast. I had to wait nearly an hour to return in there to be able to get the camera back out because of the amount of water. But this looks like a small pond. I think this will probably be dropping as I'm doing it. I don't think there's going to be a super incredible rush. But all right, everyone, camera number two is going. And that, you just heard that magnet. I have a magnetic light we're going to bring in there today. Very steep embankment. It's not a great way to get down here. Now I'm on top of ice that I know has water under it. It seems strong enough. It's not super deep, so I'm expecting to fall through at some point. Yeah, I guess it was stronger than I thought. Now we're having to go through all this willow trees, which beavers love to build with. I'm not liking having to go through here. We're also going to be mindful of, see how much space I have on the big high boots? This is going to kind of hang up some of the debris, which means this area is going to be deeper. But if we get lucky, maybe we can go out through the mouth of the culvert, not the end. We might not have to come back through here. I'll be able to just maybe reach down. Or actually, I want to bring the camera up here a bit more. This culvert's not in great shape. The end of it, the bottom of it, is crumbling. Let's see if it gets better as we go in. The top of it's also rusting a bit too, which isn't very common to see. No, we don't want red. No, well, blue actually looks cool, but we want white. Okay, there's some rocks in here which are definitely helping the beavers build. You know, these days they even put rocks in culverts intentionally to help fish. It seems more natural. Look at the ice that built up. Beavers are going to be angry. Let's flip you over. I don't think this is going to be that bad, actually. All right, here we go. This looks beautiful. having trouble grabbing. Like this one's covered in ice. Very slippery. Got it. The end that was underwater didn't have ice on it. Here's another one. Can't get a grip on it. Almost all these sticks are covered in ice. This water is very, very cold. Let's do some raking. My hands are starting to freeze. That is still a living tree. That's attached to the ground. There we go. Everything's getting pushed through. You'll see that on camera too. But boom! So that and that are still alive, attached to the ground. This is ice cold water. Just a few seconds makes your fingers numb. We're just doing some cleanup. It's basically 100% now. The Beavers also put rocks and stuff in the dam. But that's basically all we can do now. The stuff you're seeing above the water there is alive. Okay, got the light off. Wow, this is nice and warm. These lights get hot. It's a diving lamp. Yeah, maybe I don't want to touch that. It feels like when you touch hot water after being very cold. It's not pleasant. But now we're gonna get out of here. But first, let's back up a moment. Here's what the dam looked like before. And here's what it looks like now. We made a big improvement. This water is gonna continue to drop for a while. Let's take a pass back through. The current is already reducing. See, the water line is already starting to go back down. I just wanted to get that stick. We're not gonna go out this way. We're gonna go back out through here. Here's what it looked like before in the middle of the pipe. And here's what it looks like now. So this is a 4-foot pipe. I'm glad. I thought it was a 3-foot at first. 4 foot is pretty nice. I can turn the rake around in here. 3 foot, you can't turn the rake around. And it's back breaking because you gotta be crouched so much. We come out the other side and look. We've already dropped about a foot. See the ice collapsing? We're probably gonna drop another foot. Now the water seems to get deep fast. See? I don't want to flood my boots. Ooh, ice is cracking. I'm snagged. Come on. Come on. Raspberry bushes. At least their thorns aren't that bad. Okay, we're out. Water even seems to be dropping here because of what we did. I guess a good amount of leakage was going through the hill. We also got to check out down there where they usually clog. It wasn't a problem a few weeks ago, so I don't think there's a problem now. I didn't discover this a few weeks ago because there wasn't a lot of melting. But yeah, we kind of flooded the downstream area. Here's what it looked like before. And here's what it looks like now. The ice cracking in the background is so satisfying. And camera number 2 off. So the job took only about 10 minutes. Pretty good. That was a fast one. Water pressure really helped me with it. And I guess I have to mention this in every video because I'll keep getting comments on it. Won't letting it go through the pipe clog something downstream? What downstream? You see, it's already starting to get stuck up on trees. There's going to be numerous beaver ponds and natural bodies of water. We're in the middle of the wilderness. It would take me over 3 hours to get to the nearest paved road, town, gas station. That's why you almost never see other vehicles in my videos. You gotta have it more than one gas tank to even make it out here. It's the middle of nowhere. This is a tree farm. Every single tree basically you see out here was planted by the logging company. Ooh. I heard a big crash down there. We must be causing less water to back up somewhere. I just heard a crash that was far away. Or maybe it's just a coincidence because the sun's out here. But yeah, look, this whole drainage ditch is starting to drop. Do we have footage of what it looked like before? If so, here's what it looked like after. Yeah, up here starting to crack. I didn't realize it went all the way up into here, but it still is a small pond. It's dropping fast. You see the grass that's underwater? It wouldn't have grown like that. This was elevated right before the winter. Now it's just dropping back to normal. That's so small, that's definitely a secondary pond. If the beavers do have a primary pond, it's gonna be down here somewhere. I guess we'll take a walk. This area is also elevated. It's not supposed to be elevated here. Notice how these trees are all sitting in a ton of water. Willow trees love water. They grow next to it, but they won't grow in it. They'll eventually drown out. Oh, it looks like some water was actually crossing now that we have some spring thaw. I know there's a couple culverts up here the beavers plugged last spring, but it was so severe. They were 100% blocked. They were underwater. If a pipe's underwater, it's too dangerous for us to touch. If it's underwater and the dam fails all at once because we're messing with it, it's gonna push us out of the pipe. Sometimes you can just ride the clog. You're gonna get soaked, no issue. There's always a chance you get snagged somewhere underwater, dragged across the rusted out pipe, get severely cut up. Those are risks, so we don't touch them. You see, this water is not supposed to be extending out into the road. You hear all the cracking water? Or we have here all the cracking ice. It's because the water level is dropping down here because of what we just did. Some of that water was backing up and being diverted down here. Okay, here's a culvert. Yeah, it's at capacity. So I guess there is no problem here. I guess what I'm thinking of is much further down. This is a whole different location. What I'm thinking of is probably another 20-minute walk or a couple-minute car drive. We'll take a ride down there. I'm just gonna sit in my truck for an hour or so and edit this together because it's a lot easier than doing it at night when I'm tired. If we see garbage like this, I kick it up to the road because the park rangers will always pick that stuff up. They don't want to see it. Look at these nice square rocks. It's like a brick. If you ever want to build things in an aquarium, come out to a pit that's full of shale. You'll find every awesome shape you can think of. So yeah, there was a lot of water coming through here at some point that caused this erosion. And now all that water right there is dropping. When we drive by here in maybe an hour, this should be completely off the road. That tiny pipe is just at capacity, having trouble handling this. So the beavers basically diverted the stream down the drainage ditch to a tiny culvert, causing damage here to the road. And that's why we remove the blockages. I always see people that are, I think it's hilarious, they get really angry when they see me removing beaver dams inside of culverts. Okay then, we can leave the one that's flooding your road so you can't leave. Alright everyone, I just sat around for about an hour doing some editing in my truck. Look at that, we dropped about 2 feet. Look at all that. And I've been hearing all kinds of crashes of ice over the past hour. So it drained out those areas there where all the trees are. Now this water level's pretty typical. It's still elevated, but not because of the beavers. It's just spring thaw melt. It's a bit high. So you still see a little bit of grass that's under. But yeah, we're doing good. Here's what the swamp looked like before. And here's what it looks like now. Over here, here's what it looked like before. And here's what it looks like now. Now if we come over here, this probably looks about the same as it did before we started, except maybe a little bit of debris there is causing a little hang up here at the moment. Next big storm will push that downstream or it'll rot. So here's what the end looked like at its maximum. And here's what it looks like now. Still definitely a little bit higher than when we first got here. Here's what it looked like when we first got here. And here's what it looks like now. Good, everything's doing better. So now we're gonna walk down a bit. Here's elevated water levels. I see back here where most of the water was getting through. Right there a little, back here a bit. I want to take a walk back there actually. I want to see exactly how this was flooding. See, the logging company definitely made this hill here to prevent the stream when it floods from going down here to that culvert. But the Beavers made it happen. So yeah, see, some water was going through right here. That also looks like an active beaver trail. Come up here over the hill. Yep, it was backing up, flowing through here, flowing down here very actively. This must have been so much worse a couple days ago when it was warmer out. Look at all the grass is pushed over. That definitely is not from today. But yeah, now I can see why the whole road has all the erosion damage. The entire storm surge of the spring melt was being diverted down to that tiny pipe. All right, getting back up onto the road. Let's go look at that pipe again. There's still a lot of water here. It's not draining as fast as I thought. That little pipe, it's gonna take a while, but it is out of the road as much as it can. So the water's slightly lower back there than it is here. This will eventually sink in the ground. It's kind of trapped on the road because as they grade it, it makes a little bit of a curb. Lots of erosion damage. It'll be graded out fast. Plus vehicles driving over it will also help smooth it out a little bit now that we're gonna start getting into the dry season. That is if beavers don't come back and clog it up again. Here we are to the culvert pipe. Definitely lower. Dropped about 3 inches. Here's what it looked like before. And here's what it looks like now. I can hear ice cracking in the background. So we go look at it. There's nothing obstructing it. I do see the bottom of the pipe, or the beginning of the pipe is not the lowest point. So that's cutting down on capacity slightly, but it's not clogged. Likely frost heaving kind of messed it up a little bit, but doesn't appear collapsed or anything. So yeah, there's actually more water than I thought. It's got this large pool here. And it looks like some of the water may have even been diverted further because this pipe couldn't handle it. That's the best way to design a road. In every dip, you want a big pipe, but then you design all the hills so if something gets clogged, it can keep going without causing a problem. So pretty good. And like I've said, they always put pipes at higher points in the road. They want it to flood at the lower points, so they only have to come in with a couple dump trucks and they don't have to keep replacing pipes. Yep, look at all the grass pushed over here. There was quite a surge coming across this road maybe a week ago. All because of the beavers. In reality, I think it would have happened a little bit anyways. I'm not sure if all this could have exactly fit into that 4-foot pipe, but it definitely was severe flooding because of the beavers. This looks like fun. Yep. Okay, here we go. Try again right here. And that's a trail from a mouse They made that in the winter, and now it's thawing out, exposing all their secret passageways. Because mice are so small, they burrow underneath the snow instead of on the surface. And just like an igloo, it stays right around the freezing mark in the snow when it could be -40 out here. All right, everyone, we've been here for about 90 minutes. Now we're gonna go down the road and see how much that's cleared up at the little pipe. Then we're gonna go further down the road where beavers are typically issues. All right, the engine almost cooled down, but not quite. So we made quite the difference there. Oh, wow, I kind of want to show you this. Let me back up a second. Look at this over here. Get the good angle of it. Yeah, that water, when I said it was cold, I wasn't joking. Since the ice went down and shattered, it's refreezing on the surface. Look, since I've been here, it's trying to refreeze across. Outside right now is, okay, I'm not gonna believe it. My car's saying 60 or 15 Celsius. I don't believe that. That's not true. That's because I'm just sitting in the sun. And if you're not moving, the heat of the engine is getting around the temperature sensor, which is on the front. You don't get an accurate reading until you're moving. I'll tell you again in 5 minutes, but it's definitely above freezing, but that water is probably below freezing, but it is moving, so that's why it's not frozen across. Okay. Now let's go take a look at this little pipe weight up here. Oh wow, the water, wow, the puddles are just off the road just about. This pipe it's struggling, I can tell you that. Where is it? Okay, there it is. It's still got a ton of current coming out of it, so these conditions are only going to improve. Now down here beyond where we walked, yes, it was coming down here, being diverted to yet another culvert to help out. This area looks like it was underwater. Now where does this water eventually end up? No, I guess there is no more pipe. It was just more area to retain. Oh, there's a culvert pipe, which is grabbing that flowing water you see right there coming down the hill. This pipe looks like it's potentially functioning. No, it's not. Absolutely not. That's just destroyed and mangled. We need to mark that one right there. Look at that. I hate to see this stuff when it's left out here like this. A lot of times it just gets left behind. The metal pipes, who cares? They'll rust. But we want that stuff to get picked up. We gotta mark this. It's obviously not working. Okay, we marked it so no one just drives into that hole. I guess one benefit to having a plastic pipe is it doesn't cut your tires unless you have very, very crappy tires. Okay, we just turned around to mark another one. This one's not a hazard to the road, but it's a hazard to itself. If you can see the pipe in the road, as you can clearly tell exactly where that is. When trucks hit that, they're immediately going to crush it, and this is a last-minute effort to save it. I take that back. It's already crushed. Garbage plastic. I was hoping it wasn't going to be crushed, because usually when they're crushed it'll make a little divot in the road, not a bump. I thought it was just getting pushed up by frost, but that's not the case. That's pretty bad. If I drive closer to this, can you see the depth? Look at that. It's almost a 2-foot drop right here. Most vehicles would bottom out at this thing's highest drop. All right, everyone, this is where I thought we were, so it's not related in any way. This area here, the beavers love to clog up the pipes severely, and that whole road was underwater for like a month last year. So right here, the spring thaw seems to be doing a lot, very elevated, but is it beavers? We're gonna take a minute to find out. Regardless, there's a lot of water flowing here, whether it's the beavers or not. And I would like to question why this pipe's not flowing. Is it beavers? Wow, these are old fuel tanks. I love when they use those. They're a lot better. They last a lot longer. Let's take a look in there without falling in. Nope, no beaver dam. Just a lot of flow. The back is obviously backing up a little bit. It's kind of cool. Look at the markings on that rock. But I like shale because you can skip it sometimes. Ugh. So no beaver dam, just high flow this year. But there's active beavers somewhere upstream because I'm seeing beaver chewed sticks all over the place. So are they coming down here, or is that just floating from upstream? That is definitely fresh. That's not from last season, what I'm seeing there. I think they'll probably try to clog it up again this year. And I like to point out that water's crystal clear. We can see right to the bottom of it. That's got a lot of current going in there. What about the other pipe? Ooh, there's 3 of them. And this is not going to help out. That rock was probably up here originally. It fell down there. That's going to make that easier for the beavers to clog. Okay, let's get down here. I see beaver tracks. They're already investigating how they can clog this up. I think that's just flowing too much for them to attempt. Okay. Oh, that says a lot. Look at the culvert. It's not even in the water. I guess that's just to help out if the water got severely deep. That's not the same one. There's probably another. Yeah, there's only one massive pipe. Okay. I thought there may have been more. There is one right there. That's pretty big too. Oh, there's even a rock blocking it from draining. Let me get down on my knees. I want to see what's in there. Okay. That does have to be dealt with. You see, that was up here, all these rocks, and they fell down. If I remember correctly, yep, there's another one. Right here. Seems to be doing okay. Come to the other side. Yep, doing okay. It's a small one. Now those beaver chewed trees are definitely last season. So there's 5 pipes here. 3 of them are 18-inch diameter. One of them looks like it's 3-foot diameter, and one of them looks like it's 6-foot diameter. I'm just looking for, there's the entrance of the other small one that's not flowing. They have a lot of culverts. Obviously the big one's original. It needed help. They put the 3-footer in. Then they added 3 tiny ones. And that works out good. So the beavers can clog the big one or start to clog it up. Then at least they have all the small ones to help out in that event. All right, everyone, I'm going to end this video here. And I hope today's video was interesting, everyone. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.